Welcome to the introductory episode of Digital Insurance Innovator. We're here today with Richard Dufty, Chief Commercial Officer at Human API and the primary host of this show. My name's Logan Lyles. I'm one of the producers of this show, and today I'll be talking to Richard about what you, the listener, can expect from this podcast. But before we jump straight into that, Rich, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, great. Logan, thanks for having me. If people can't tell already from the accent, native from Australia and moved to the US in 2007, been here in California for the last 12 years, moved over with Semantic and have been in technology and digital transformation for the last decade. I have a lot of caffeine going through me right now. I have a 5-day-old beautiful little girl. And so listening to a lot of podcasts myself at really strange times of night. But I find myself now as the Chief Commercial Officer at Human API.
I love it. Well, Rich, tell us a little bit about Human API. You guys are the ones behind this show. What brought you to Human API, and what are you and the team up to these days?
Human API helps organizations leverage digital health data to create meaningful, real-time consumer, agent, and channel experiences. Human API is the modern transaction layer for healthcare. You can think of us as the Plaid or PayPal of healthcare. We provide access to every health data source that exists, including wearable devices, electronic health records such as EMR, patient portals, labs, pharmacies, health information networks, as well as offline such as APS. The Human API platform, we're super excited that is used by over 100 market-leading and digital-first companies. Folks like John Hancock, Prudential, AAA, Allstate, Allianz, some really exciting new use cases around Amada Health and Thrive, and my friends at Movember, Novartis, and a really exciting new use case with Clear. Our use cases range, Logan, from accelerated underwriting, claims, medical record optimization, improving sales experience for independent distribution, and a really timely one right now around COVID testing and vaccination programs, as well as employee and consumer health and wellness. We were founded in 2014, and our investors include some industry heavyweights such as Score, Allianz, Guardian, C&O, and most recently Samsung and Mitsui, as well as Blue Run Ventures.
I love it. Rich, you guys are doing some exciting stuff in some very timely things happening right now with health data and digital transformation within healthcare, insurance, and several different folks and industries impacted by what's going on right now. Can you tell us a little bit about, that's the world that you guys live in, the folks that you guys are serving, and some of the exciting innovations that you are a part of? Why a podcast for this space right now?
Yeah, that's a great question, Logan. Look, one of the best things about working here at Human API is partnering with innovative leaders and companies who are using the digital health data to create amazing experiences for their consumers. That said, the insurance industry as a whole is still operating in a largely non-digital world that feels, quite different from the rest of our lives as consumers. Now, the good news is that leaves tremendous potential for innovation. But the hardest part of knowing where to start and knowing what's possible. This podcast is designed to showcase the awesome results by innovative leaders who are going to provide thought-provoking perspectives on the what, the why, and the how, and share their thoughts on trends, opportunities, and challenges in the insurance market and how they're navigating and mastering insurance innovation.
I love that. I can definitely resonate with that as a father of two, and dealing with health information and changing pediatricians, those sorts of things. I think you said it very, very well. We're not seeing the digital experiences that we experience in other areas of life, and so there is an opportunity to bridge that gap and accelerate that. And obviously, there are a lot of players, a lot of people who are trying to bridge that gap with innovation. So for folks listening to this, Rich, tell us a little bit about what they can expect from future episodes if they're thinking, okay, this seems like it's for me. I see this. What am I going to get out of future episodes? What are some of the things that are going to be covered?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And Logan, just to touch on that personal connection, I think that's what's really great about the industry we're in is that everybody has a story, right? Everyone has a personal connection, and we all want to, experience our relationship with insurance carriers in a particular way. Similar to your story, my 10-year-old was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes about 4 years ago. And the journey and the experience for me as a consumer dealing with health organization and insurance carriers, what was candidly like really, really bad. And then again, I just mentioned that, I have a 5-day-old. And so about 6 months ago, I went out and tried to get a new life insurance myself. And again, it was a very long, drawn out process. And that's what we're really excited about is the organizations that are changing that and really leading from the front. And so in this particular podcast, look, what can listeners expect? Listeners are going to tune in and expect really candid conversations about the current state of insurance innovation. They get a chance to hear directly from leaders who are in the trenches doing the good work every day. Listeners will leave each episode with tangible outcomes, motivated and ready to start implementing their own innovative projects and embark on the art of the possible. And more specifically, we already have a great lineup of podcasts ready to be released. The first one out of the gate is a doozy. It's with our founder and CEO, Andre Pop, together with the CEO of Score Global Life, Paulo DeMartin.
I love that. I love two things you just said there, embarking on the art of the possible. I think a lot of listeners are just like us, Rich. They have their own personal stories from either side of what's going on here and how it's affecting not only companies, but our daily lives, and connecting these themes of innovation and moving things forward with those personal stories to figure out what are those next steps on that journey. And I always love it when we can share what's coming up in future episodes, so that people know what's going to be coming if they hit subscribe here in the coming weeks. So on that note, Rich, of future guests, future topics, that sort of thing, what can listeners do if they want to reach out and connect with you as the host, or suggest people that they think could add value to this conversation, or possibly ask, hey, could you guys cover this in a future episode? It's a topic that, I'm seeing in the day-to-day within my organization right now, and it would be really helpful content.
Yeah, absolutely, Logan. We would absolutely love that. Look, as I said, Human API is an industry platform. In this case, we're simply the hosts of the show, and we're keen to bring as much innovation to light as possible. So listeners can reach out to us with ideas to suggest guests or topics. And like you said, it could be things that they're doing themselves, that they're seeing in their own organization, or experiencing firsthand as consumers. And we'll track down the folks that are responsible for that awesome innovation. So feel free to drop me an email at richard@humanapi.co. That's .co, C-O, not .com. Or drop me a DM on Twitter at DuftyDownUnder.
I absolutely love that handle. We just had to bring it back to your Australian roots there, Rich. Well, everybody, that wraps it up for this introductory episode. As you can tell, Rich is going to be a fantastic host. There will actually be some other co-hosts from the Human API team that you'll get to hear from as well. I always love that with any podcast where you get varying perspectives, great questions from a variety of hosts. So hit subscribe if you haven't already, so that future episodes like the ones that Rich just mentioned a few moments ago will be right in your feed as soon as they drop. As for myself, I'm going to be turning over the reins to Rich and the rest of the co-hosts on the Human API team. They are going to be taking the reins for episode 1 and beyond. I am very excited to see the show grow for the value that it's going to add to the space and the impact it's going to have on all of our daily lives. As you mentioned, Rich, we've all got a personal story of how all of this innovation affects our daily lives and our families. And I just want to say I appreciate you and the team kicking off this podcast, and you spending some time officially kicking things off with our time together here today.
Thanks, Logan. Really appreciate it, mate.